Hi friends, it's Jess, otherwise known as Goldynfinch, and I'm here with an oracle message for the new moon in Aries. I felt really called to begin with the Sabian symbol for this new moon as a thread to pull down and weave in. And so with our new moon in Aries, that's going to be at 22 degrees, 25 minutes in Aries. And with the Sabian symbol system, when we have minutes, we round up to the following degree, which takes us to Aries 23. So the vignette, the written symbol that Elsie Wheeler channeled for the collective in 1925, is a figure in pastel colors carrying a heavy and valuable but veiled load. So what the heck, right? You know, sometimes with these vignettes, you have to sit with them for a moment. And I did, and what really came through with a figure in pastel colors is that this is spring personified, springtime personified. You know, we just recently with the wheel turning had the vernal equinox, which for many folks, part of the ritual and routine around that is to maybe dye eggs pastel colors outside our windows and in the natural world around us. At least for some of us here in the Northern Hemisphere, we are starting to see those pastel colors outside, with the little green buds on the trees, with the grass shoots coming up, with crocuses and springtime pastel-y colors, bursting through the soil. We're seeing that around us. So springtime personified. And when I think of the second part of this vignette, carrying a heavy and valuable but veiled load, what do we have here? With the springtime, there can oftentimes be this sense of rejuvenation, renewal, rebirth, possibility, and potential. Many of us may start to feel more alive, more crackly, right? With Aries season, it's that strike of the match, our match, almost like our pilot light is relit once more, and we're like, yes, and we want to go for it, and we want to maybe start doing all the things, start piling things on our to-do list, on our plate. And at first that can feel really yummy, and of course it is valuable, this sense of rejuvenation, and to be able to start activating and initiating passion projects, and or just just start moving and grooving again. That is valuable. But as maybe is wont of an Aries, in Aries season, energy is to start wanting to do too much, too soon, too fast, and it starts kind of piling on. And suddenly what feels really valuable and exciting and full of potential and possibility starts to feel a bit too heavy and unwieldy and unmanageable, and we maybe start to then just kind of push it aside and maybe revert back to some of our previous habits of, again, projecting, procrastination, and what have you, instead of like really kind of carrying through with this revitalization of this pilot light being, sparked once more. And then I also want to talk about the veiled load. When we think of the term veiled, it evokes a lot of different connotations, such as wanting to protect, perhaps, these ideas, these passions, these wants, these desires, our flame. It could be, we're not quite certain, it's still a little bit veiled for us. We can start feeling this sense, this energetic shift of possibility and potential, but we're not really exactly sure what we want to put on our plate or on our to-do list yet. It's still a little mysterious, a little veiled. So with veiled, it can be a little bit of secrecy or protecting. It can also feel a little maybe oppressive because we're not sharing this load with others. We're maybe not asking for support, not asking for, sharing. So we may be called to protect it. We may be feeling called to start unveiling it to ourselves, start figuring it out, or unveiling it to others in order to have it be a little bit more manageable, to get some support from our community or from, our inner circle or what have you. A figure in pastel colors carrying a heavy and valuable but veiled load, springtime personified. So I went ahead and went to one of my most pastel colored decks, kind of running with this theme of, springtime colors, which when I think of a really pastel-y deck, that led me to the Enchanted tarot. That's what wanted to come forward, and just shuffled the deck asking for some additional insight, instruction, or inspiration around this oracle message. And what came forward was a lot of air energy. We have three cards from the Swords suit. We have the Ace of Swords, Eight of Swords, Page of Swords. We also have a major arcana card, the Moon. And we have Cups, Three of Cups. So a lot, when we look, overarching, and we look to see, what do we have, really represented here, we have a lot of air mental energy, which makes sense. Here we are in Aries season, across the wheel we have Libra. And what does fire need? Fire does need air. It needs thought. It needs, in order to, take these passions and to not just impulsively act on them and to initiate them. Aries loves to initiate projects. But part of, carrying it through or getting to a destination or completing the tasks will probably require some mental maneuvering, some planning, some lists, some writing things down. Otherwise, what can happen is these fresh new ideas, this fresh beginning, this spark, this valuable load of wanting to tackle, what's on our list and on our plate. We can start to get, some analysis paralysis. All of a sudden it feels too much. It feels unwieldy. It feels unmanageable. And then maybe there's a tendency to revert to maybe some procrastination or just, kind of, oh, well, it's just too much, right? And ignoring this pilot light that's been lit within us. So again, I'm kind of getting, back to this veiled load. It's kind of, hidden on how we maybe tackle all the tasks or get to the destination or to complete them, right? With the Moon, the path is still a little bit fuzzy and hazy. We're going to have to do some backwards planning. Kind of reminds me of my days as a classroom teacher, the fresh new quarter or semester or a new year, and just wanting to teach all the creative things, have all the most engaging lessons, wanting to bite off, more than I could chew or tackle, and would suddenly become very, very overwhelmed. And, one of the techniques to avoid that is to start backwards planning, is like starting to look at the destination. I'm thinking of that idiom, don't count your chickens before they hatch. But sometimes we need to actually envision not all the chickens hatching all at once. That is overwhelming. But to be thinking about, one or two of those really valuable eggs that were like percolating and wanting to hatch, and really envisioning, what does that hatching look like? What is that destination and completion? And really envision it and start backwards planning the different steps for the destination and the completion. Writing it down. Again, we have a lot of swords, air, mental verbalizing, writing. So talking it over, maybe with a community member, someone in your inner circle, like a support person, to, verbalize your ideas and kind of have a sounding board. Writing it down. So it's not just, here, or just like this fiery pilot light, or just this mental, interior landscape, which can be a really yummy place to hang out in, but to activate, to have this load not be so heavy, but to activate and initiate what is valuable to you. It does look like there needs to be some planning, some organizing, some verbalizing, some writing. And I'm just pausing to see if anything else wants to come through. Yeah, again, just looking, I'm being called to, the candles here. Keeping our fire flame going is going to require air. It's going to require some thought. Our passion, our oomph, our gumption can get us going, but to sustain it and to get to some sort of destination, some sort of final, completion stage, this air, mental, swords energy is in our corner for us. I hope this serves you. If it does in any sort of way, if this inspires you or gives you anything to like mull over, I'd really appreciate a like, share, or comment as an energetic exchange. And until next time, tweet, tweet.